1. My husband and I have 2 children, both boys, now aged 11 and 14. My husband's younger sister now has 3 children aged 7 female, 5 male and 3 male. The year my youngest son, let's shorten to Wise for the story, was turning 4, he asked for a birthday party. He was not yet in school, and so he did not know anyone but family, and there were no children other than his brother that were able to attend. Luckily, his favorite people in the world are Grandpa and Grandma, Dad's parents. Grandma is like a big kid. She's super fun and energetic. She acts much like a kid herself, and my boys adore her. I knew they were very busy, so I asked them several months in advance if they could attend his birthday party. The party was to be on his birthday. This is important. Being the wonderful grandparents they are, they agreed and requested that time off from their jobs. We also invited all close-by family, including my sister-in-law, the entitled mother of the story. Months go by and it's now about a week and a half before my son's big day. I've bought the decorations, planned the menu and pumped him up. I like to sing a final countdown song as I prepare breakfast in the morning. One afternoon I receive a call from my sister-in-law, who is about to find out the sex of her baby. She's pregnant with baby number 1. She wants to plan a gender reveal party, but she's called her friends and family and discovered that most work and can't attend without several weeks' notice for their jobs. The only day everyone just so happens to have off is my son's birthday. Would I be willing to move my son's birthday party to another day so she can have her party? At this point it may bear mentioning that she already has 3 baby showers planned and has asked me to make the food out of pocket for one of the showers. Most people being asked to attend her gender reveal party were already attending multiple baby showers for her. I am pretty friendly and passive. This caught me very off guard. I tried to gently tell her that my son was looking forward to this and we've had it planned for months, which is why everyone had it off from work. She feigned sympathy but still urged me to please move my son's birthday party to a time that everyone could later attend, and let her have this open date for her party for her first baby, while you've already had 2. Besides, Wise loves babies and would want to go to her party too. He could still come to my party and see everyone he loves, and then get to do it all over again when everyone can request time off. I didn't have time to gather a response as she steamrolled over me saying, "Okay, if they want to go, I won't make them come to Wise's party, but I can't go to your party. We have plans," and her responding thanks. I was angry. She had pulled this kind of thing with other people before. I have tons of stories, but she had always really loved my boys and never tried this with me, or not to this extreme anyway. I didn't know how to react other than vent to my husband, her brother, who wasn't surprised at all and said not to worry and that their dad would set her straight. Funny enough, I was talking to my husband when I saw him father-in-law calling my phone. I answered and he said that my sister-in-law had told him I had no problem with her hijacking my son's birthday, and I had insisted she have the party and everyone go to that one instead of Wise's. He said if this was true that he would attend her party, but he would way rather go to the party of Wise. He'd already gotten presents and they were excited about celebrating a kid that's already here on his big day. I very happily told him that I was never going to cancel his birthday or make him sit through someone else's party on his big day. I mean, he's 4 and I've been counting down for him every morning. What kind of monster would I be? I said that I had told sister-in-law that people could go to that if they preferred, but that we wouldn't be attending. He said that sounds about right, and told her he's going to Wise's party since he requested time off for that, and if she wants another party another day to give him notice. She canceled or never organized the party and then talked about me behind my back to anyone that would listen for years to follow. Story 2. Mom uses my locked private diary, an only true safe space, as her daily reading material. When I was a preteen, my mom gifted me a diary with a tiny lock and keys. I hid the keys, taped them in hidden places, and began using it almost immediately. I was a bookworm and loved reading and writing. I was also quite neglected as a child, so my diary was the only place I could express myself and feel heard. I'd read my last entries and that allowed me to reflect on my own thoughts and actions, and learn from past situations. It was honestly really great for my mental health. For a time, my mood and mental health improved. Time passed. I couldn't tell you how long, probably a few months. Shortly after, I wrote an entry talking about my first wet dream, a few seconds of feet peeking out of bedsheets. Nothing truly NSFW. My mom got furious at me and confronted me, full on screaming. She sat me in the living room as she towered over me, screaming at my face, asking me if I thought this was normal, that I was having depraved thoughts no child my age should have for a preteen. Really, it was actually perfectly normal. That I had promised no sex before marriage when I was 5 years old, and that this was clearly going against my word, that I was etc. I tried to defend myself at first, and protest, not understanding how she even knew about it, but she took out the unlocked diary as proof of my depravity, and my attempts at defending myself it was just a dream just fueled her anger more. I sat there silently crying, answering quietly whatever she wanted me to say to whatever she asked, because nothing else would stop her escalation of screaming. I felt betrayed. My locked diary was my only safe place in that home. I was careful with what I wrote in my diary after that incident, and set a few tests to check if I was still having my locked diary read without my knowledge or consent. I did this by writing about innocuous incidents in a way that would have sounded like it was more than it was, knowing it would prompt questions out of curiosity. Every time, it didn't take more than 2 days for the questions to come. Turns out, she'd hunt for my diary's keys and read it regularly. Needless to say, I stopped using my diary. My only breathing space had been turned against me. I significantly closed myself off from everyone. I felt if even my diary could betray me, then people even less. It was hard not writing. I no longer had an outlet for emotional or psychological relief, but I really couldn't trust anything anymore. After a week or two without any new entries, Mom asked why I had stopped using my diary. If I had dared, I'd have rolled my eyes and asked, "Why do you think?" But I knew better than to attract attention to myself and simply said I had lost interest in such a thing. At it, man, this community is amazing. The amount of support and encouragement is overwhelming and sweet. I really should mention that this was like 20 years ago for those who are concerned. I'm in a really good place now. I put more details in the comments, but I felt I should mention that it's old news here in the main post. Story 3. Advice on breaking up with my 38 male unstable fiancé, 38 female in lockdown. Hey gang, I'm in a difficult situation with my fiancé. We love each other dearly, and I am extremely grateful to her for all that she's done for me, but we are just too unstable. It's a non-stop emotional roller coaster. 90% of the time things are wonderful, but the other 10% is unbearable. I've learned a lot over the years on how to control my emotions and manage my mental health, so I've become a lot less reactive. But even so, it seems like we end up in a terrible conflict about once every week to 2 weeks that results in sharp words and silent treatment for hours or even days. It used to be once every few days. It's so exhausting. I'm just done, y'all. Currently we're in a European country where she has citizenship rights, and I don't, and my status is going to expire soon. We're at the point where the logical step in our relationship is to get married. But I just can't do it. Every cell in my body is warning me not to marry her. I want to break up and go back to my home country while I can still grab a flight. I'm saving up money to do this, and I plan to do it in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Here's where this gets complicated. My fiancé is completely dependent on me financially. She has not worked in 2 years. She supports me in my work and around the house, but cannot seem to finish any projects on her own. She's been trying to build an e-commerce store, but it's moving at a snail's pace. I've tried helping her, but it gets nowhere. The resistance for her goes very deep and is linked to trauma and abuse, and I'm just not equipped to handle it. She's an actress but has given up on working due to embarrassment about her age. She has a lot of other skills, psychic readings and healings. Regardless of whether you believe in it, she's really very gifted at this, decorating, photography, but she doesn't seem to be motivated to turn them into something money earning. As for her own mental health issues, she is not actively seeking treatment or help or coaching or therapy. Again, I've tried. We went to couples therapy, but she doesn't seem to be capable of taking responsibility for her side of the conflict cycles. She does not have a support system in this country. She's not close with many people online either. We have made good friends with our neighbors, and I'm sure they will check in on her, but I am hesitant to leave her alone in this country without means to support herself. She struggles with basic tasks like opening bank accounts and sending emails, because she is often overwhelmed emotionally. I came to the sober conclusion that I needed to break up with her 3 times in the last year and a half. All 3 times she talked me out of it. She convinced me that I was having a mental health episode or that I was possessed by toxic masculinity, patriarchy energies that were not the truth of what my spirit wanted, etc. She laid guilt on me, saying that she would wither away and die, and that I would then die of grief. She said nobody should abandon their partner in a foreign country in the middle of a pandemic. She said she had seen our children in dreams and that they were meant to be born, and I was killing them, etc. I see now that this was all simply manipulation driven by her fear of abandonment. This time, I know that I need to do it, but I'm scared, you guys. I know she will not take it well, but I can't bring myself to leave like a thief in the night. For that matter, it's not possible. I don't have a car that I can pack stuff into. We're in a rural area, so I'd need to book an airport taxi or call a friend in advance. So either way, there's going to be another long drawn-out nuclear war when I try to break up with her. I know that I need to stick to my guns. I don't know when to tell her of my decision and how to get out cleanly. I don't want to cause her more pain than I have to. I really do care about her. In my fantasy world, we'd walk through the woods and have a beautiful ceremony where we release each other lovingly. But I don't see that happening. I also do not have the resources to support her indefinitely. I want to offer to her that I'll pay her rent and food expenses for 2 months, to give her time to figure out some way to support herself in, or get to some place where she can stay rent-free for a while, or ask for some support from her sister who has helped her in the past. From where I am, this just feels really heartless and cruel, and I know that's what she'll say to me, but I just don't know what else to do. At some point she needs to take responsibility for herself, right? Phew. Felt good to express all this. Thanks for any advice you might have on navigating this. Story 4. Update. Advice on breaking up with my 38 male unstable fiancé, 38 female in lockdown. I want to thank everyone who chimed in with advice and feedback, which helped validate my beliefs that my partner was abusive and situation was untenable. In the midst of the relationship, I doubted everything, but I feel much clearer now. I did it. I broke up with her and flew back to my home country. I thought I would wait a bit longer before making the move, but some unexpected money came in that allowed me to book my flights, and once I made up my mind, I knew I had to do it quickly. It was terrible. There was no way for me to leave in the middle of the night because I had too much stuff to pack and I needed it all for work. I had to go through a confrontation and endure 3.5 hours of her trying desperately to change my mind. But I was determined to get out of there. I had made up my mind that I would call the police if she tried to stop me from getting in that taxi, or an ambulance if she threatened suicide. She did neither. I think she could sense that I was not fucking around this time, unlike previous breakups where I lacked the resolve to follow through and let myself be manipulated and persuaded into staying. Anyway, it's over now. For the first few days I was worried sick about her well-being, but our friends are taking care of her and may even let her live with them while she figures out her next move. I'm honoring my plan to pay her expenses for 2 months, and I'll cut contact completely once that's done. I moved to my brother's city where I will spend the spring and summer, and he is expecting a baby soon, so I will get to be an uncle and help out around the house. I'm grateful to be around family and to have something to look forward to. I feel like I've taken my life back. Still, I'm sad. I really did love her dearly. Thanks everyone for giving me frank but helpful advice. It made a huge difference. I am ready now to start my healing and get on with my life. Story 5. My female 27 best friend female 27 says my fiancé male 28 admitted feelings for her. He denies it. So I've been with my fiancé since I was 17, 10 years together, and I've been best friends with my friends since we were 8. Generally they have gotten on fine throughout that time, until a few years ago when my friend picked me up after a few drinks one night. I hadn't known she was buzzed and we got in a wreck. We were both fine. But he thinks she's irresponsible, so he's been just very formal polite to her since then. When she comes to visit me, he goes into the other room to play video games or something. Anyways, about 2 weeks ago she texted me and asked me to get lunch with her. Places are open in our area. I met up for her, and she tells me that my fiancé told her that he had feelings for her and wanted them to be together, but she told him no. I was obviously upset and asked when this happened, where did he message her, can I see the message, etc. She immediately got really angry with me, accusing me of not believing her when we've been friends so long. I asked that she at least tell me where, when this happened, even if there is no proof. And she refused, saying if after all this time of friendship I won't believe her, then I'm better off being with a dirty cheater, and stormed off before the food even got to the table. I went home to talk to my fiancé about it, really upset of course. He seemed genuinely confused about the accusation from what I could tell, and asked when she is saying this happens since he's very rarely around her. The only time he ever sees her is if he walks through the living room to get food from the kitchen before going back to his office. And he's never been in the house with her alone. I admitted she wouldn't tell me because she thinks I should just believe her. Brought up that he could have messaged her it, and he immediately handed me his phone and told me to, if looking through it would help, to go ahead. I went through the whole thing and honestly nothing. They're not even friends on any social media. He doesn't have any weird extra texting apps, no contacts that are weird in his phone. He does have her number in his phone, but there's no messages to her or any calls to her from her. He's also been working from home. I do all our shopping, running around, so only one of us has to go out. He has asthma, so he's really not gone out much the last year. We have security cameras at our place, so her dropping by without the system giving my phone an alert that there was a person is unlikely. So unless he texted her and immediately deleted it so she'd have proof. I'd assume he happened to run into her the 1 or 2 times he's been out in the last year, or he raced out of his office to proclaim his love to her while I was in the bathroom. I have no clue where this could have happened, so I'm inclined to believe him, seeing as we've been together for 10 years. I can't think of when this happened, and she won't tell me anything else. Our mutual friends are divided, some saying it's suspect she won't tell me anything, but others saying as her best friend I should believe her because there's no reason for her to lie, whereas my fiancé would have a reason to if he did it. I don't know what to believe at this point. My friend is still completely shut down on me. I called her trying to talk about it, but she told me not to contact her again unless I believe her, and hung up on me. My fiancé has been completely open about everything. Part of me is wondering if she's lying because she knows he doesn't like her from what happened a few years ago, and is trying to break us up. Then part of me is wondering if he really did text her that and she is telling the truth and being so difficult for no apparent reason. Any advice on how to handle this? Story 6. Update. My female 27 best friend female 27 says my fiancé male 28 admitted feelings for her. He denies it. Well, I woke up the morning after the post and hadn't expected that many responses. I sat and read them all, and it was pretty unanimous that she was lying for some reason, and if she wasn't lying she was being a crap friend for how she went about this. Some comments also really made me realize how much shit my fiancé has had to go through because of her presence in my life. So I woke him up and told him I believed him and apologized for letting this drag on like I did. I took the advice of someone and made a group chat minus the now ex-best friend, and sent them the post and just asked that they read it. Most of them sort of waffled until one said had she not known either of us, it would be obvious who is lying, and they all agreed it was too suspect. One of them called me shortly after, asking me to meet up with her to talk, so I did. She is the one closest to ex-best friend other than myself. She basically told me ex-best friend has been complaining about my fiancé for like half a year to her, about how he's still mad, how he must be making me spend less time with her, that I'm going to marry someone that is actively trying to tear us apart as friends. She was able to show me some texts where ex-best friend was saying those sorts of things, and one of her in her maid of honor dress with a text saying my dress for the funeral of our friendship. Then leading up to now, where friend was asking her if it was true, and she was snapping at her too through texts to stop questioning her, and it doesn't matter if she is lying anyway. Friend said she hadn't reached out to me prior because she thought after the wedding ex-best friend would realize it wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be. Then when all this happened she didn't think that texts were proof enough to show me and nuke our relationship. But the post made her feel bad for not showing me them, so she gave me some of the screenshots, and I went to ex-best friend's apartment myself to talk to her. She let me in, and I asked her if she had anything to tell me before we went any further. She doubled down that she refuses to give me details, repeating the same stuff. So I told her I knew she was lying, and had proof she was. Showed her the screenshots I had, which she accused other friend of photoshopping to make her look bad. Once I told her I read them in person off of friend's phone, she started going on about how everyone is trying to tear up our friendship after the accident, and how it isn't fair on her. I told her maybe if she'd apologized and tried to make changes in her life instead of insisting for years it's not her fault, and then coming up with this lie, maybe none of that would have happened. Told her that even had she been telling the truth, the way she chose to tell me and make this some shitty loyalty test instead of her telling me some of the most devastating news of my life, shows she isn't a good friend to me. I forgave the accident because I cared for her, and took it as a mistake, but obviously that care doesn't go both ways. Told her not to contact me again, and that I told friend group of everything going on, sent them the screenshots, and they can make their own decisions on who they do and don't want to spend time with based on the information they have. But I won't be seeing her again. I will be blocking her on everything, and to not attempt to fix this because it's unforgivable. I still feel mentally and emotionally drained from all this, but there's also a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. As for the wedding, instead of choosing another friend in this group, I asked my fiancé's little sister to be my maid of honor, and she's very excited. Fiancé is also relieved he doesn't have to deal with ex-best friend anymore, and says he's just happy it's all settled. As for the rest of my friends, the one that showed me the texts, I'm not going to stay in contact with her either since she hid all this and only showed me out of guilt. The others I guess I'll see how it goes. Edit about the friend who told me, maybe in time I can move past it, but right now I can't really look at her. It's not just that she didn't tell me right away. I just feel uncomfortable. I would spend time with the two of them a lot, and to know there was conversations about my fiancé, the wedding, the relationship, and our friendship going between them like that just, yeah. The maid of honor dress photo, I'm literally next to her in the picture. She knew BF had these feelings so strongly, was my maid of honor, and essentially hated my partner at this point. Then when BF told the whole friend group this situation, and they all came at me about not believing her, and having to explain my side and only half of them listened to me. She was one of the ones that said I should listen to BF, when she knew all the stuff she'd been saying, and essentially confessing to her that it was a lie. She didn't do anything herself, but she watched it all happen until she felt too guilty. And right now, that just hurts and I'm not sure I want her in my life.